joining me for part two of Death of a Loved One. We will talk about some things that you need to do if you are experiencing the death of a loved one. Now, I know a lot of people like to hold stuff in. They want to appear strong, especially right when something of this nature takes place. But that is not the thing to do. It is my personal belief, and I can only go by my personal belief, that you need to have some sort of foundation, belief system. If you believe that there is not life after death, if you don't have some type of faith system, it is very, very hard to get through the pain of losing someone. I am what I call a pre-Constantine Christian. So I rely heavily on, and I relied heavily, and I still do to this day, because I have lost family members recently. And I had to reassure myself that I am not alone. Some people are very private and really don't want to express how they feel. They don't want to share their emotions. And so if you are that type of person, it is very important that you have some type of spiritual foundation. For me, the Most High works. He works every time I need him, every time I call him, he appears. May not come when I want him, but he's always right on time. So that always works for me, but I am not here to press or to try to get you to conform to my belief system. But what I am saying is that if you have lost someone, you definitely need some spiritual backing. You need something to fall back on. We can't, even as smart of humans as we are, we can't control the weather. There's some one of a higher power that controls the weather. There's someone of a higher power that controls the sea. There's someone of a higher power that controls winter, spring, summer, and fall. So we as humans, we're limited in our ability to be able to do certain things. We're limited, but that's where our faith system comes in, where we have to rely on a power outside of ourselves to help us navigate and to get through the most difficult times of our life. So that's number one, that I would advise anyone to please connect to the source from which cometh your help. You need to connect to something that's greater than you. That's the only way you're going to be able to maintain and to get through these times. Another thing is, you need someone to talk to, someone who you can relate to. Now, I know that there are a lot of grief counseling centers. There are counseling sessions that take place at certain community places, such as churches, community centers. And so you really just want to, wherever you are, you just really want to kind of research. I know for my area, we can call 311, we can call various helplines, and there is always someone that you can talk to and kind of lift the burden off of you when you are going through a time such as this. And it doesn't matter how long it has been. Sometimes we all heal differently. So you need someone, whether you know them or not, to be able to talk to and to get that pressure off of yourself, because it's not easy. And holding all of those emotions and all of those feelings inside, and feeling as if you are stronger, you're strong, you don't need any help. I'm here to tell you that everybody needs somebody. As a part of the human race, we need to be able to touch someone, to feel someone, to know that we are not alone. So I would also advise that you have that person, or you have someone that you can talk to, and just to let it out. Another thing is, a lot of times you get tired of crying. You can be, I know for the worst experience of my life, which I mentioned in the last video, it struck me so hard that even going to Walmart, I would just break down. Watching certain TV shows, I would just break down. I could be in the middle of class, I remember, and just breaking down. So you never know when and where it's going to hit you, but I would advise that you let it go, that you do what you have to do to release. Don't do as I had done in the past. A lot of stuff I compressed. And as a result of me compressing my hurt, compressing my feelings, I went to other sources that were not in my best interest, such as drinking, such as smoking, such as various things, to help alleviate some of the pain that I was experiencing. But I was so tired of crying. I was so tired of hurting that I resulted to other things as I got older, as a way to kind of ignore what I needed to address. So with that being said, if you feel like crying, cry. If you feel like screaming, scream. If you are in an area where you cannot scream, go into your room or wherever you feel safe and you are alone. Take a pillow and scream into that pillow. If you have to run into the forest or just wherever you have to do it, do it. Whatever it takes to release that pressure that you are currently experiencing, do that. Because that compression of your feelings, of your emotions, and not allowing yourself to heal, the wound will never get smaller. It will never turn into a scar, because you will be carrying around that grief, that depression. It builds up into other things. And if you're not careful, it then evolves into something even more deeper. Depression is real, and it can lead to other things, and you don't want that, because sometimes you could go down that rabbit hole so far that it's almost literally impossible for you to jump back out of that hole. So whatever you are feeling, do not compress it. Let it go. Release it. And you feel better each time you allow yourself to release. You can breathe a little bit better. So do not deny yourself the opportunity to heal. At this point in time, especially if it's just happening, you have to allow the body to process. You have to allow yourself to come to terms with this thing called grief. And it affects us all differently. You're going to have to work hard to get back to a place of ordinary, just a usual day. And nobody can put a timestamp on that. First year anniversaries are going to be the hardest, the very hardest. don't do holidays, but when I was a child, I did do holidays. So Christmases and holidays, birthdays, the anniversary of the passing of your loved one, those things are going to stay with you for a while. But if you can get through that first year, you're going to always carry around that person for the rest of your life. But it gets a little bit easier as time goes on. The saying is, time heals all wounds. You're still going to have the scar, but at least when you allow yourself to breathe, when you allow yourself to grieve, the process gets better each time. And it doesn't have to be the death of a loved one. And I think I'll do something else when it comes down to the actual depression part. But for this particular video, I want to talk about things that you can do to help you during the grieving process of a loved one. Don't get sheltered in and closed in to where you don't want to be a part of things that you used to do or people who you used to be around, if they're positive and if they're bringing life into your life. Don't shun away from that. Get involved. Go to the parks where you can get some fresh air. Go for walks. Listen to some soothing music. I love jazz, and that was something that I had to grow to appreciate. But jazz music and classical music, and my favorite music of all time is gospel/Hebrew music, because gospel/Hebrew music, that is music with a promise. So for my experience, those loved ones that I lost, that I knew had a relationship with the Most High, my sister, my grandfather, my grandmother, other loved ones that I have lost, although I miss them terribly even to this day, I know that because of my faith, and this is not going to apply to everybody, but because of my faith, I know that I will see them again. I know that death is not the period. It's just the transition. And that's just my belief. But those who are of Christian belief, pray, meditate, cry out unto the Lord. And the way that you hear him, now sometimes he may give you a dream, sometimes he may speak to you in various different ways, but the best way to get a word from him is to open up his word. That's what the Bible stands for, basic instruction before leaving earth. And that's just for me. I don't know, whatever you believe in, you just need to go to that source and you just need to dive in, because this is something that you cannot handle on your own. I'm just giving you steps. I'm just giving you recommendations of what you can do in such a time as this. Don't feel like you have to be strong for anybody. Allow yourself the opportunity to grieve and to hurt. Now, after some time, you don't need to stay there, because there's nothing that you can do that's going to bring that person back. That's just reality. We were born to die. That's a fact. So you have to accept that in order to be able to move forward. We all have an eviction date that we must leave Earth. That's why it is so very important, and I'm going to wrap this up, to treat everybody right, to love your neighbor regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their belief system, regardless to how they live their life. We are to love everybody and treat everybody right. Now, just because I love you does not mean that I agree with you. Just because I love you does not mean that I have to sit there and watch you self-destruct. If I see something that is wrong according to my belief system, I'm not going to force you to do something you don't want to do, but I will address the issue if I feel it's necessary to do so, because that's what love is. Love is not always a feel-good thing. Sometimes love hurts. Truth hurts. And whether or not that person is willing to receive that is totally on them, but you have to do your job in spreading the truth. And I always reference the Lion King, Rafiki. He said, "Oh, Rafiki." He said, "The truth can hurt, but you can either run from it or you can learn from it. We all are going to have to die. That's a fact. Sometimes we have control over the way that we die, in terms of if there's an illness, and sometimes we don't. That's why we have to be ready. We have to make sure that our hearts are as pure as possible, that we are every day putting good things within our system, within our minds, to think positively, to show love to those who are less fortunate than others or than us. Showing love, agape love, makes all the difference in the world, because we're going to leave here. And how you leave here is an important factor. What you do on earth matters. That's why I said in the previous video, regardless to how bad you are hurting, and no matter how bad I wanted to end my life because the hurt was so much, I didn't give myself life. And the mere fact that I was still living and breathing meant that there was still an assignment that I needed to do. And it's the same for every last man, woman, boy, and girl. Purpose. You just have to endure until the end. Do what's necessary to heal, but you will get through this. So, I'm going to wrap this video up. If you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. And leave your comments below. And I will see you in the next video. May God bless.